Well, she found a good man, and I'm very happy for her. He didn't start off being a good man, he evolved into a good man. This is Lisa Sonni, Sonni, and her husband is Jamie, and Jamie, and she does an interview with him on camera. And she comes from abusive relationships. She is, oh, I'm not, she's an expert on abuse and narcissistic abuse, and she coaches people in that kind of thing and educates people on narcissistic abuse and what you should and should not put up with and that kind of thing. And she was raising two kids by herself for years, and she finally met Jamie, and he is a good man. He comes from abuse himself. His parents were shit. He just grew up with people that didn't care about him. His parents. I've been on the same page myself. And he was in toxic relationships with women, and just he's got a lot of experience with that. He had, as a result of that, he had a lot of growing to do and a lot of formulating himself into a good man, regardless of the past that he came from. And it's very common, and I talk about this a lot, it's very common for you to end up with people like your parents. Both his parents were crap. So naturally, he had a long line of toxic relationships with toxic ass women. And he grew into the man that he is now, the warm, loving, kind, caring man that he is. And Lisa is online all the time talking about abuse, and men pretty much bash her, which because they're sick anyway, right? Most of them are sick. And they love to slam her and say that she is a, let me think, feminist, which is asinine. Feminist is only a woman who wants equality for men and women. Why people twist and manipulate that into something negative, I have no freaking idea, and they have no freaking idea what they're talking about. Feminism doesn't have anything to do with anything other than equality for men and women both. That is it. But people twist it to be something totally stupid. Anyway, so they introduced when they first met, and things were going so well. And Lisa would ask him, "Are you real? Are you real?" Because he consistently stayed a good person. There was no love bombing. There was no bullshit in the beginning. There was no trickery and here's my nice costume and then you're going to see who I really am in a short span of time. There was absolutely none of that. He stayed consistent from the day that she met him, and he remains consistent to this day. August or September of 2025. He remained consistent. And it's a beautiful thing to watch them communicate. It's actually pretty funny. Some parts of it are funny. He cusses a lot, which I think is hilarious because he's so down to earth. I just adore him. And I think she's amazing too. She's spicy. She's got a pretty spicy personality. She's not going to take your shit. Anyway, and I've seen her snap on people. But anyway, and they deserved it. But, you know, men online love to call her bitter, angry, you should be a lesbian, you're cynical, you're bitter, man hater. That's their favorite thing to call her, amongst other things. And somebody said when they found out that she was with Jamie, people were saying, is he going to be okay? Because she hates men. Is he okay? So when she was doing the interview with him, she started laughing and she goes to him, honey, are you okay? Because you are with the man hater. Are you okay? And he just started laughing. She started laughing because she's not a man hater. She just exposes the truth. She's not a man hater. She exposes the truth. We never said all. So if you don't fit in this category, be quiet, okay? Because no one's attacking you and no one's bringing out the truth on you unless you're a good person, and people like to brag on good people. Jamie is a good man. Jamie said the only reason that those guys, and I'm going to post the interview, the only reason that those guys say that about women, you're going to die alone, you're a man hater, you should have been a lesbian, you're a loser, you're washed up, you're a single mother, nobody wants that, you're never going to find love, nobody wants to deal with someone else's leftovers, blah, blah, on and on and on. And Jamie said, and I adore him for this, Jamie said, well, the only reason they say things like that is because they're projecting. They need to say all of that in front of a mirror. Hello! Exactly. They are washed up. They are going to die alone. They do die alone. There are facilities that men die alone every single day because they have pissed off everybody. They have humped and dumped and humped and dumped and humped and dumped some more. And they have ex-wives and their kids are sick and tired of their shit. And so now they're sick and nobody visits them and they die by themselves. So when they throw that accusation out there, you're going to die alone, they're actually talking about their reality. They do die alone. Medical professionals in these types of facilities, medical facilities, will tell you these bastards die alone. And they deserve to die alone. You've done nothing but kick people in the teeth your whole life. What did you think was going to happen as a result of that? People are going to fall head over heels in love with your personality and they'll drop everything to be by your side because you're sick or because you're dying. You're going to be alone, pal. People are sick of you. Okay? It was hilarious because she makes his lunches and one guy said, his coworker said, how did you get her to make your lunch? He said, I didn't have to get her to do anything. She saw him make a sandwich one day and she seen him try to make his sandwich for work. And she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I always make my sandwich like this. She's like, move. And she makes his sandwiches for work all the time. You know why? Because he does for her all the time. It's reciprocal. I know this is such a foreign concept. She must have found him from Mars. But anyway, it's reciprocal. And let me go backwards for a second. She had 2 kids. And when the kids met him, they liked him so much. And that one day turned into an extended 3-day thing. And the kids were like, can we have him in our lives forever? Because he's amazing. Of course, that's awkward because it's a new at that time, it was a new relationship. Can we have him always? That kind of thing. Yeah. He doesn't do well with making a sandwich, and he's so funny. He goes, how do you make the sandwich taste better than when I make it? I use the same shit. And she started laughing. She said, because it's made with love, I guess. I mean, their relationship is great. Now, is it perfect? No relationship is perfect. He said that too. He said, you do things to piss me off. I do things to piss you off. But the bottom line is they're still there for each other and they still have each other's back through everything. And he said the things that piss each other off is such petty things. She said, yeah, you make my favorite tea. You don't wake me up. You put it on the counter for me. So when I wake up, I can have my favorite tea. So it's not like she cooks and cleans and slaves for him and he sits back and is the receiver. He goes out of his way for her too. He's got her back through thick and thin. And these men that bash women and he's a simp and this and that and blah this, because if he's not abusing, he's got to be a simp. He's got to be, less of a man or whatever. He's actually more of a man because he's not afraid to love and he don't care who knows it. That's a real man. That's a real man. I adore him, and I adore her too. And the strength of their marriage is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And he talks about guys himself. He's like, a lot of these men are shit. They don't have any respect for women. He said, he told Lisa, he said, you helped me be a better man, and I feel like we healed together. He says, I don't know if a person's ever fully healed when they have such an extensive background filled with pain, but we healed together, and it's reciprocal. He would lay down his life for his wife. So when the coworker said, how do you get her to make your lunches? He said, let me ask you something. I don't have to get her to do anything. She wanted to do it for me, and I want to do for her. We love each other. Like, what are you talking about? He said, what do you do? So Jamie asked him, he said, what do you do when you get home with your wife? We sit on the couch and, I play with my phone, or she plays with her phone, or she's watching TV or whatever. He goes, if you're in your phone when you get home and she's staring at the TV, you're not present. You're not present. You're not there. Put your phone down and talk. Connect with your partner. And being present is such a big deal. It's such a huge deal to be present. It really, really is. So many people aren't present. So many people are addicted to their stupid phone. You're losing people. People have even done that on a first date. Instead of this exciting moment where you're getting to know someone new, you're jacking with your damn phone. There's nothing on there that's more important than real life. And you're on a date, for God's sakes. What are you doing? It's refreshing to see Jamie. It's refreshing to see a man who has respect for women. And he admits that he was toxic and had issues in the past, and he just became a better man the longer he's goes through his life. He has formed into the man that he is today, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And as I watched them communicate with each other, I thought to myself, you know what comes from shit? Flowers. And he's a flower, and she's a flower. Both of them come from really awful backgrounds. They've been through hell and high water, and they don't do that with each other, and they lean on each other and into each other, which is how it's supposed to be. And he has no respect for men who treat women like absolute garbage. He has no respect for that. He said they're not real men. They're little boys portraying that they're men. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you get the gist of it. It was refreshing to see a real man, and he's so funny, and he speaks his mind. He don't mind cussing. He's like, listen, you don't treat women like shit. You just don't. He's just very down to earth. He's not presumptuous. He's not going to act a certain way because the camera's in his face. He's going to still be him. And the kids fell in love with him. Like I said, her kids fell absolutely head over heels in love with him from the first time they met him. They're like, whoa, we like him. Can he be here forever? And he's there forever. They're married. So it's just a beautiful thing to see. There's not a lot of men out there like him. There's not. She's very fortunate to find him. She's deserving. They're deserving of each other because they both, like I said, they both come from toxic backgrounds. So thank God they found each other. It's refreshing. It's beautiful to see. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I wasn't going to watch it because I'm like, okay, that's her life. That's never been my life. So I don't need to watch it. I'm happy for her, but I'm out of here because whatever. But I watched it, and it was comical, and it was real, and it was down to earth, and it was just refreshing to see. It was like biting into a peppermint patty. It really seriously was like biting into a peppermint patty because, wow. How incredible. How absolutely incredible. It's nice. It's really, 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 really nice to see. A lot of people watched the video, obviously, and some people are like, well, that's great that they found each other. I can't see that happening for me. I feel the same way. I have never met a healthy person except for just friends. And some of those people that I thought were my friends, I had to get rid of because they were toxic too. And I'm not going to allow you to hate me and then think that you're my friend, because that's the two don't, you can't put hate and friend in the same sentence. So, I mean, I know God can work miracles. I just never experienced one. I mean, let me correct that before God smacks me in the head. What did you just say? Okay, let me explain. I've had a lot of miracles in my life, but not in relationships. I have not. In friendships, I have. My best friend Gail was non-romantically my soulmate. Um, but in a relationship, it's just never happened. Now, God can work miracles. Hey, I'm open to miracles. I'm cool with that. It's just never happened. And God does not, he doesn't go again. He gives you free will. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you are free to do whatever you want to do. Whether it's good or bad, you are free to do what you want to do. The bad thing is he doesn't intervene. Although sometimes he does. Sometimes I've been called on the carpet because I was acting terrible at the Sprint store, and their policy was pissing me off, and I went berserko and I dropped F-bombs in the store. And I never ever do that, but I had too many things going on in my life at the same time. So something's got to give, and I freaking snapped on them and dropped the F-bomb, and they were super cool and super chill. and then and then a couple weeks later, well, no, I guess a few days later, God said, you need to go in there and apologize. I'm like, I'm not apologizing. These are the reasons why. And he worked on me for 2 weeks and basically said, you get your butt in there and apologize. You were wrong. And I'm like, no. I'm like a stubborn little kid. No. And at the time, I was going to church all the time. And he said, so what if, this is God talking to me, what if somebody goes in Sprint and remembers that not goes in Sprint, goes to your church and remembers that you're the one that dropped F-bombs, and they're like, well, if Christians act like that, I don't want to be a Christian. You need to go in there and take responsibility. And I'm like, okay. They didn't make the policy. You're going off on them. They didn't make the policy. The home office did. So if anybody needs a foot in their ass, it's somebody from the home office, okay? They're just following the rules. That's how they get paid. You got to follow the rules. And so I went in there. My heart was pounding so hard. It was like, I felt like it was slamming against my rib cage. My heart was racing. My voice was breathy because I'm like, and I apologized. I didn't want to, but I did. I said, I came in here and I really went off, and I have a lot of things going on in my life right now, and that's no excuse, but I snapped on y'all and you don't deserve that. And they're like, it's okay. I said, no, it's not okay. I should not have done that. And I said, is the other young lady in here that was here at the time? She said, no, she's not here today. I said, can you do me a favor? The next time she's here, can you tell her that I apologize? She said, I will do that. Was I scared to do it? I was. Did it feel good to do it? Yes. But God doesn't force you to be a good person. If you decide you're going to be a narcissistic, toxic asswipe for the rest of your life, and you're going to ruin everyone's life that you meet, you have every right to do that. Now, will there be repercussions for that? Most definitely. Toxic people die alone all the time. Toxic people get written out the fucking will. Toxic people get the entire family to turn their back on that person. They may become extremely ill and nobody comes to see them. I'm going to tell you what happened to this one guy. I'm going to let you guys go. And I will post the video of Lisa and her husband. And he's such a breath of fresh air. There was someone I knew who, oh God. He is also a toxic ass, narcissistic, selfish prick. He wanted me to move in to take care of his mother because he's sick and tired of taking care of his mother. And I'd only known him for a few months at that point. He didn't want his mother living with him when her husband died. He is also the one that, when him and his wife were separated, he brought other women to her parents' house, paraded other women right in front of them. Okay. He was singing a song and a dance, and I figured out what really the part of the story that was missing when he told his sob story. He had a best friend that was a female, not relationship, just friends, and he had a tumor in his brain, and she dumped me when I was in the hospital, stopped being my friend, and I found she didn't come see me in the hospital, and she had to get together with all my friends, and I wasn't invited, and he's just acting like the biggest baby and the biggest victim. And then when I seen his behavior, for the short period of time that I knew him, now I see why she treated you the way she did. She didn't wait until you got into the hospital with a brain tumor to dump you. She was tired of your abuse and the way you treated her and how selfish you are. So, these people have a tendency to tell you the story, but they don't tell you the whole story. They don't tell you the whole story. I found out the whole story because I looked at how horrible he is. And he talks very slow. And I talked about this before. He talks very slow because of the brain tumor. When they found it at the hospital, they had to remove it right away. And so he has a tendency to talk like this. It doesn't bother me. Everybody has something going on. But he used that to cry to his son about how women don't want him because he had a brain tumor and because he talks real slow. I said, you need to stop lying. When I wrote it online, because I was cutting him off at that point. I don't remember. Oh, I remember what he did. Anyway, couple things he did. Anyway, I said, you need to stop lying to your son and telling him that women don't want you because you had a brain tumor and you talk slow. It doesn't have shit to do with that. It has to do with the fact that you're a fucking narcissist. That's the real reason. So stop lying to your son and playing victim and being a baby. It's because of the way you fucking treat people. So one of the things that the little bastard did was we went to a movie. It was in the wintertime. He came to visit me from Nebraska and I'm in Missouri. Yes, he drove all the way here. And we went to a movie. Well, it was wintertime, so there's a patch of ice. Like, I came out of the movie theater. He went to go get the car, and he brought the car to the front of the theater. I've got chronic pain. I can't fall or have any sudden impacts or, I can't. I have to be careful with my body. So I'm standing on a patch of ice. This son of a bitch, when he drives, his doors automatically lock. You cannot sit here and tell me he didn't know that. So I'm standing on a patch of ice. I see that it's this patch of ice, and I'm like, open the door, and he's pretending he doesn't know that the door is locked. So it would be real easy for me to fall and yank my body out of alignment or injure myself. This sumbitch sat in the car, and I yelled in front of God and everybody, open the fucking door. And then he opened the door. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. You know god dang well, you little bastard, you know fucking well that when you get in that car and drive, the door automatically locks. You cannot sit here and tell me that you didn't know that and this is your first time in the car and you didn't notice. And then I'm standing on a patch of ice and you gonna stare straight ahead and pretend I'm not there? Second thing he did, and this was the final straw. I had bronchitis. It was terrible. I was barking like a dog because that's how hard I'm coughing. When we came back from the movie, I started preparing a brisket or pot roast. I can't remember which requires a lot of preparation. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to take you forever. If you know how to cut vegetables, you good. if you know what to do and how to do it. It is a little time consuming though. And I'm sick as a dog and I'm coughing and hacking and coughing and hacking. And he's sitting in the living room on his ass, not offering to do shit. I said, I had to tell him to come and help me or ask him. I said, this will go a lot faster if you help me. That was the last straw. That was the last straw. I now felt bad for everybody in the movie because I was hacking the whole time. It was bad. Oh my God, it was bad. And he just acted like he was totally detached from it. And I remember when I said something about, he went to his brother-in-law's house or something. And it was around Christmas time. And I said, so what'd you do for the evening? I went to my brother-in-law's house. We watched the game. Oh, okay, cool. He said my mom was doing all those fucking crying and shit. And I didn't want to hear it. And I'm so puzzled by that. And I'm like, you realize that the holidays are really hard for people, right? Especially in your mom's case because she lost her husband. He don't want to hear all that crying and shit. And you think I want to be with somebody like that? Hell no. Hell no. You don't need to see dramatic evil in front of you. All you have to do is see signs. And those signs give you a clue. This is what you're signing up for. You see how he treated him. Oh, and by the way, let me not tell you. Let me not forget this part. When him and his wife were estranged from each other, separated, whatever, she was terminally ill. And he paraded other women around her parents' house. He didn't give a shit. Didn't I tell you narcissist death means nothing to them? I told you that. Remember? Remember this? Death means nothing to them because they still breathe. And they're not attached to their wife or their husband, no way. So it doesn't matter that they're dying. Makes no difference. In fact, it's great because they could get all their other lovers to come to their house without a spouse being in the way. It's perfect. So seeing Jamie, again, was the biggest breath of fresh air. It may never happen for me. It may not happen for a lot of us, but it's still a good feeling to see that they found each other. That may never happen for me because I'm not going to tolerate men's bullshit. I'm just fucking here to tell you, I will not. You either come as a good person and stay a good person forever, or you can kick rocks and bite bricks. Love you guys. Take care.